And if it's Sunday, it's Free Talk with Mr. B. I think we spent time in the Blue Room enjoying each other's company. And every Sunday we get together. We are good friends now. And it's very exciting to reach out to you here on Facebook Live, to our listeners on our podcast and podcasting stations around the world. And if it's Sunday, it's Free Talk with Mr. B, right here in Houston, Dubai, India, South Africa, and around the world. Sameena, last week, we were talking about awareness and giving, and we kind of mentioned quite a few things. And we wanted to make sure we let our listeners know what we were talking about to help them to appreciate. But there's some parts of it I really, really like. And the idea that sometimes we don't have to know when we give, but sometimes I still think we need to know what and why we're giving, so we don't squander our resources or our kindness. What do you think, Sameena?
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. And I was like, we've finished about, I'm not sure, maybe this is our 17th episode or 15th episode. All these episodes, we've been talking so much about giving back with an intention, with humility, with or without intentions, and then being aware about what we're giving back. If you think about the word just giving back, it has so many meanings. In itself, maybe restoring, and maybe reviving someone, or then you're restoring somebody's faith, or you're replying to someone, you're answering something. It's like you can go on with the synonyms for the word giving back, but each time you're doing that, for example, when I'm responding or when I'm restoring something, I need to be aware about what it is. Because each time I'm doing something like that, it is an experience I'm creating for the other person. And, if I'm a person who goes deeper into anything and everything I do, so even if it's, just helping someone, or even if it's taking up somebody's task and helping them with the task, I still, cherish those moments. I know it's not a big deal for many. It's just like, okay, it's just helping and moving on. But then
yeah, and I'm like you too. I like to know what it is I'm doing, because I don't like to blindly put one foot forward and then maybe even end up having two step backwards. I like to know where I'm placing my feet, and in this case, I like to know what and why I'm giving. What do you think, Dedra?
Well, I think that, when we're talking about awareness and giving back, one thing that I wanted to kind of touch on here is that it's not always about giving back to people. When you think about it, a lot of small things we do give back to the planet, give back to life in general. Whenever you help an animal, a kitten, or something that's destitute, it's been injured, and you take that animal to the vet, or you give it some food, or you put out a little water for it, you're giving back. That counts too. That's awareness and being a better person, and, giving back to something that's helpless, that needs you, to survive, and whenever you pick up your garbage you're at the beach and you pick up your things and you use the recycling bin instead of leaving rubbish everywhere, you're also giving back.
Right.
You're giving back to the planet. I think that may be something that we also need to be aware of, that awareness is not just helping other human beings. It's about helping, nature in general, because that is our responsibility while we're here on this earth, to take good care of our home and not to leave it in any worse shape than it was when we got here. It's all about being a good guest, right? In the South, we're taught to be a good guest, and you don't trash somebody's house, and you don't, destroy their things, and, you leave the house in just as good of a shape as you found it. Right.
And so as we spoke about,
it's the same.
As we spoke about awareness, is want us to be aware that Sister Mehreen just came on, and we do not always know what's going on in South Africa. So welcome to our Sunday program again. It's so nice to have you on, Mehreen.
Thank you so much. And I do apologize for the delay, but
It's,
thank you so much. It's always lovely being here.
it's quite okay. And with that thought in mind, I'll have you take over, Sameena. But awareness is, there's so much we need to be aware of, and there's so much that we can be aware of. Now, granted, there's some things we don't want to know, so we don't feel responsible for it in awareness. But when we have that heartfelt desire to give and give back to the planet or to ourselves or to each other, it's good to be aware. And it's the way we handle that awareness that makes a difference.
Yes.
Sameena?
Yes, I definitely completely agree with this, because even looking at what we're doing presently, we are branching out of Free Talk with Mr. B, and we are going to be having our own podcast as well, of course, under the same umbrella and the same branding and everything. And this is definitely going to be creating a legacy and creating a lot of awareness and various topics. And we are going to have a chain of awareness. I think, I'm sure when I'm older or whatever it is, I keep saying this, that I will hear somebody ask me, what is this Free Talk? Then I would explain to them that this
Right?
was a concept of awareness, this was a concept of giving back, and being so much aware of how we are making a difference in people's life. And you've made a difference in our lives. And now Ms. Dedra is also going to have her You, Me, and Iced Tea shortly.
Right.
That's
So
right. Very shortly.
Or
yes,
or when a new you comes up. Sister Marino is thinking about a new you, because we need to remake ourselves, and every person, every family, every man, every woman, we all could renew ourselves by how we change, adjust our attitude, or we approach life. So she has that thought in mind about a new you. And so she'll develop those ideas.
yes.
And again, more directed towards Mia, because I want to give her some airtime also.
Sure.
It was the last week we were talking to the doctor, and she was a very, very wonderful supporter. Was it from Zalika Hospital?
That's
Yes.
right. Yes,
And,
Dr. Zuleika.
right, and the support was amazing. And I know she was very keen on saying is not to always have to know everything, or not to always be aware. Give kind of blindly. But the perspective I was coming from is there are times, and I think we even covered one of those subjects before. We can do mistaken kindness in giving. And so mistaken kindness leads to awareness, and awareness should lead to reducing mistaken kindness in giving. And an example of this is a child. We used to give them certain plastic toys, but children put toys in their mouths.
Yes.
And so if we're so keen and kind to give them the toy and they swallowed it in such a way that we had to force it out of their throat or get them to the hospital, then we did not do them a favor, and we did not behave with awareness that this small plastic toy can injure the child. And so that's an example, just one of them, an example of awareness. And I know, Sister Maureen, you have some more like that too.
Absolutely. But before I say anything further, Sister Dedra, congratulations. Can't wait for the podcast. I know it's going to be amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that's very kind of you. I'm looking forward to this.
It's a pleasure. Regarding awareness, and for me especially, with what I teach and what I do, self-awareness is key. And I think it's imperative that we try and teach every single person, leave alone a specialist in a field or a professional. I think everyone, from a mom, dad, child, elder, everybody needs to be aware of certain things. Because, for example, if I have to do an empowerment workshop with somebody, I'm going to teach you tools on how to empower yourself, but you're going to have to do the analysis on you for yourself. And in order for you to know what about you needs to change, you have to be aware of the fact that that is negative for you. So it needs to change into something positive. So awareness is key for everything. If you are not aware of things that are negative for you and about you, if you're not aware of what's happening with you, then you're not going to be able to take the necessary steps that are needed for positive change for you, for your life, for the betterment of you, so that you can actually give back the best version. Because remember, ideally, what we're all trying to do is teach people to become not just a better version of themselves. I always say it's becoming a more authentic version of you, a truer version of you, a version of you that is more based on your true self. And that is where I say self-awareness is key, because only you can answer the questions about
Very
you.
nice.
And that's what's important. So self-awareness for me is really, really important.
Very, very nice use of that awareness. Very nice word, Sameena.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
As
Agree with that, actually. When my husband, being a
I'm
mental
sorry.
health professional, I'm sorry. Pardon me, Sameena. I didn't mean to cut
it's
you
okay,
off,
it's
honey.
okay.
I just thought, I just thought I'd bring it in that being in a married to a mental health professional makes you aware of that. That a lot of what my husband deals with his patient, is the lack of self-awareness of flaws in their behavior. I mean, things that they're doing, their ideas that they have that get in the way of self-improvement. That basically living in denial, of a lot of things that they are actually doing wrong. And so everything begins with awareness, just like, my quest for autism awareness, so that people can, be much more aware of the fact that autism is a pandemic of its own, that's been around for a while now, with 1 in 60 people now being declared autistic. I mean, it's more prevalent than, cancer and AIDS combined, and cancer, AIDS, and diabetes combined. I mean, this is something that a lot of people in the world are not aware of. So spreading awareness is very important. Mental health awareness, is key. I mean, a lot of people, for example, they're depressed, or they are in an abusive situation. If they don't know that this is wrong, they won't know how to change it. I mean, if you are the abuser or the abusee, the victim, you might not be aware of how to change your situation. So becoming fully aware of yourself is step number 1, to getting help. You're
Right.
absolutely right. I'm really happy that you brought that up. That's an incredibly valid, point to make.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. I think I would like to add that, there are two instances that came to my mind here. One, when we were taking care of dad at home, the moment he had a stroke, and then he came back to the home after, staying at the hospital for some time. We as a family were completely unaware about, what's coming, in the days for us as a family. But we literally had a complete sea change, I would say, in our lives, that, we couldn't, our daily routines changed, and we had to ensure that we're giving him all the attention. We need to be aware about what he's feeling, because he wasn't speaking. Then being aware about every minute about what's happening in his body. What could we do to help him? Because even one move of ours, without being aware about, okay, we might think that, okay, this is going to help him, this food is going to give him energy, because we absolutely had no clue. He is not speaking to us, and it was quite a tough time. And then we are trying to give back and revive him and restore that faith in him, that he's going to overcome that stroke and that situation. But at the same time, we we had to have that awareness. And I think we learned in the process, and every day was a learning, and every day we could see that probably giving something would make him good, giving something was deteriorating his health even more. So we just kept learning, and this awareness is very, very important. It can be for, critical care, it can be for mental health, like you said, and also hospice care, which is towards the end of life care.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
very, very
I
important.
get you there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we have two great examples of awareness. Again, self-awareness for knowing who we are, what we want to give back, and what we have. Like when we covered the article on having plenty, whatever we have inside of us to give. And so awareness from us, and awareness for not the giver, but also the receiver, to where we don't bring harm to them, but we give where we do good, because that was the whole purpose of us wanting to give in the first place. So we're again bringing these perspective on the second session of awareness, because awareness is giving back, not only having it, but sharing it. Because there's a lot of talent out there, and some people did not know that that was a problem. Like another example, if we're here and when Mia had the rains and the floods in South Africa, we didn't know, and so we became aware and we took action. And sometimes someone sitting next to you, we do not know even what they're going through. And when we become aware, then we can take action. So the word awareness as giving back has application all over the giving back spectrum.
Yes.
From a protection and from a glorification perspective, and from a directive perspective. There is so much it feeds into it that we should be aware of things.
Yes, absolutely. Even in the corporate world, if you just look at it, when one gets on a job and then you are expecting that you are going to be learning from your superiors, or you're learning from your team for a fresher, they're absolutely clueless. And then that awareness needs to be created. And for the managers or the immediate supervisors, they need to know that this guy or this girl is a fresher, and I need to be patient in teaching or, training person. But the pressure at the job would be so much, you won't have time and patience sometimes. You're just losing it, saying that, okay, why can't you just do it? It's simple. Maybe it's simple for you, but then the awareness of, yes, you're trying to train the person, you're trying to, bring the person up, and it's a new person, and the person's absolutely not able to understand why is the manager screaming at me. There has to be a in giving that training.
For sure.
One very important factor regarding awareness, I just must add, is twofold. One is being aware of yourself. Yes, like I said earlier, is key, because that's what it's your growing, it's your development of you as a self, when you become more aware of you as a self. But together with that comes one very important point, and that's you being very honest with yourself about yourself. Because if you're not going to be honest with yourself, then your changes are not going to be made for you. You don't need to be aware of yourself in a point of what I need to change because this pleases the next person. You need to be aware of yourself of what is best for you. That's the number one. The number two important point about awareness is we also need to become aware of when the reactions that we're getting from people around us become a little bit overextensive and are painful, but we're not wanting to register it because it's not comfortable. And that is what's key, because sometimes give, and we're not aware that this person is actually literally just taking now advantage of what we're giving. And that awareness is also key. So you need to be really totally aware of everything about you, your surroundings, people, your reactions to people's stuff, people's comments, people and what they're doing, their actions. Yeah. But remembering at the same time, I can't control what other people say and do. I can only take control of myself. So being aware of you and your reactions to whatever is happening is key.
And that in itself we appreciate, and mainly because we're going to really let this point resonate with our listeners and ourselves. And we would like to appreciate many aspects of our lives as we kind of count the blessings in such a way, because that's one thing we need to be aware of what we ourselves have received also. Because sometimes we don't count it, and we may go later on complaining that we didn't get anything, not realizing we got so much because we were aware of what we received. So I look forward to that. And we're so excited because we were talking earlier as we were opening the show about Dedra and the program she's going to go into next. And she's starting off what's called You, Me, and Ice-T. And we look forward to everyone listening into this program too, as they become aware that she's putting on a podcast and talking about a passion that she herself has, a passion of movies, books, awareness of movies, books, writing, and what happens behind the scenes. So we are going to dive into the secret history and mystery of all of this. I want to thank everyone for being on this Sunday. And I really, really enjoyed how we brought closure to the balance as we spoke about awareness last week, awareness this week, and we created that listener feedback and balance. So thank you so much. Any last words?
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Okay. And so today, guys, we'll get together soon. If we had to during the week, we can. And I'm going to sign off on this one so I can start another. Would that be okay with you?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Hold on a minute, please. Then.
All the best. All the best.
All
Take
the
care.
best.